Hello everybody, it's Mr. Starton here again, and we're here for plant lesson 2. So hopefully last time you enjoyed our lesson on the food chain and you have got lots of that information ready to go, because we're going to start with that again today. So let me just get up our lessons, share it on here. There we go. Okay, so let's get going. So first thing I want you to do today is try to remember which way around these animals and plants and the sun go in our food chain, and extra points if you can label them with some of our key vocabulary. So pause the video now and put those in order on a piece of paper. Okay, let's see if yours matches mine. So we had our sun as the energy source. We had our grass, which was the producer. Our zebra was the primary consumer. We could also call that prey. And our lion was this secondary consumer, as it consumed the primary consumer, the zebra, and that was our predator. Can you remember the other two names for the zebra and the lion in this food chain? Well done. Yes, herbivore for the zebra because it only eats vegetation, grass, for example, and carnivore for the lion. And I know some of you are going to be screaming at the laptop right now that we are indeed omnivores because we both brilliant memory. Okay, what are you going to need today for our lessons? So, pencil and paper. Crayons could help. If you haven't got this next item, then you can draw one. And a flower. Those of you who are lucky enough to have a flower ready, I have got mine here. And we are going to be dissecting those today, so ripping them apart. So if you haven't got one, don't worry, you can have a look at what I'm doing and you can draw one. If you have got one, brilliant. Just make sure, health and safety before you start, you obviously don't put anything towards your mouth with the flower. Okay, so what's our key vocabulary today? We've got a lot of them actually. Flower, I'm sure you know what that one is. Leaf, stem, root, petal, stigma, style, ovary, anther, filament, sepal, receptacle. Now there's even more than that actually, but those are the ones that we're going to really look at today and you're going to be labeling down. So I'd pause the video now and write those down in your book. Okay, ready to move on. So the first thing I want you to do today is, can you please draw a picture of a plant, and it has to be the whole plant, and can you tell me what the 4 parts that the arrows are pointing to are? Pause the video, have a go at that. Okay, let's see if you got that right. So we've got the flower at the top, we've got the stem, which is the main body of the plant moving up the middle, the leaf, which we'll learn about in later lessons how important they are, and the roots, which anchor it to the ground and grab some nutrients from the soil as well. Well done if you remembered all of those. You would have done those in previous years. We're going to focus on the flower today. So these are the parts of the flower. So first thing for you to do is, I would like you to copy this picture down and copy down exactly where the words are as well. Pause the video, have a go at that. Okay, so we have got here several parts of the flower, and I'm just going to quickly go through what they are. So we've got, the flower is sort of split into male and female parts. The male parts are the anther and the filament. These ones just to the left of the flower there. And what they do is produce the pollen, which you can see at the moment, which is falling into the stigma. Now, the pollen is very important for flowers to reproduce. The female parts are the stigma, the style, the ovary, and the ovule. Those parts going down the middle of the flower. Then we've also got a few other parts. We've got the stem, which is rooting, not rooting, wrong word there because of the roots, which is leading up from the main body of the plant to the flower. The sepal, which is supporting the flower, and then you've got the petal, and it's the job of the petal to look very pretty, which is why we get pretty flowers, for the insects and animals to be attracted to it so that they can help in terms of spreading that pollen. Okay, Can you remember where everything is? Now, those of you who did pause the video and draw the flower will know exactly where everything is now. So let's see if you got those right. So we've got the stem at the bottom, the sepal supporting the flower, the ovule, which is a female part of the flower, the ovary, where the ovules are stored, the style, which leads up to the stigma. All of these are female parts of the flower, apart from the stem and the sepal at the moment. Now on to the male parts, filament, which holds up the anther, and that's what helps produce the pollen. Then we've got the pollen, which, although on this picture it's going down the middle because it's going back into the flower, it obviously comes out of the anther as well. And the petal, which job is just to look so pretty so that the insects are very attracted to it, and they go and think, oh, there's some great nectar over there, I'm going to go sit on that flower. Okay, brilliant. So your job now is, I would like you to get your flower, and this is the best bit out of the lesson. What we're going to do is we're going to take apart our flower and we're going to label it. Okay, so I'm just going to take us out of the screen share now to show you what we're going to do. So I've got my flower. Okay, I actually got this from my garden this morning. Now already I can see parts of the flower, but I'm not just going to sit there and go, well, that's the stem and that's the petal. I'm actually going to rip it apart, okay? So this is why I say it's important, if you are allergic like me, hay fever at all, just be careful with your hands going to your eyes at the moment or anywhere near your face. And obviously make sure you check with your parents that you haven't got a flower that is in any way poisonous. Not many are though. So if I take this apart, and I can be quite heavy-handed with it, I've got here the petal, okay? So I'll make a note of that. I've got here the sepal. Now, at the top here, I've got lots of anthers and the filaments leading up to them. And up here, this big one in the middle, I've got my style and stigma. Okay, so the female part of the plant. You can see, actually, I can see very, very closely. I don't know if you could see that. Yeah, a little bit there. Some pollen actually on there already. Now, I'm going to continue to take apart that, and when I get right into the middle, we get the ovules. But this is what I'd like you to do with yours when you're finished. So I did this one earlier, okay? This was from another, this is exactly the same plant. You can see I've taken all of the parts of the plant and I've labeled what they are, and I've also labeled what their jobs are as well. Okay, so that is your job now. Either do that with the flower you've got, or draw a picture of a flower and do exactly the same thing. Pause the video, off you go. Okay, well done. I hope you enjoyed that. That's a really good way. I mean, it's not very often you get to rip things apart, is it, and get to have a look inside of them, but hopefully you will manage to find lots of the important parts of the flower. Don't worry if you're not quite sure what some parts are. Sometimes it's more easy on some flowers than others. But well done, okay? And the main thing is we're using that vocabulary again. We're understanding what our parts of the flower are and what their jobs are. So I'm just going to share the screen again. There we go. Ooh, we don't want to go back to the start. Okay, so hopefully you got those words in, okay? And we know a bit more about what our key vocabularies are now. So just to remind you, here again is the picture of the flower. Have a look at that. If you haven't already labeled those pieces on the flower, do it now. And that's it for today's lesson. So the next lesson, lesson 3, is going to all be about what plants need to live and how we know that they're alive. For this one, you're just going to need a paper and some paper and pencils. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will see you in the next lesson.